Not to bring back, but to wipe them out.
That's the plan. You have my word on it.
All right, I'm in.
Thank you. That will be all.
God damn it, that's not all!
Sigourney Weaver is an American actress and producer, multiple times Oscar nominee, and winner of other prestigious awards. She is rightfully considered the mascot of cinematic sci-fi pop and one of the most colorful action heroines of our time. We have prepared this video to get you to know more about the amazing actress and woman who found herself among the aliens. Sigourney Weaver, how the Alien franchise star lives and how much she earns. Our star was born on October 8, 1949 in New York City and was named Susan Alexandra Weaver upon birth. Her father, Sylvester Weaver, was a media tycoon, president of NBC, and one of the pioneers of the talk show format on American television in the 50s. Her mother, Elizabeth Inglis, was a British actress. From the moment she was born, young Miss Weaver and her older brother were surrounded with a host of servants, tutors, and nannies. Acknowledging that such a privileged position could lead children to have issues, the parents tried to instill in them modesty, diligence, and the passion to find their own cause, which, by Sigourney's admission, has helped a lot in life. When the time came to send their children to school, the choice fell on a private school in New York. The girl had a hard time in high school. She was taller than everyone in her class, as she was 5'11" tall at the age of 14. She was subject to ridicule from her classmates, just like any other teenager who is different from others. One could have taken offense at them and held a grudge, but Susan decided to act differently. She gained the love of her peers thanks to a sparkling sense of humor, in fact, becoming the main comedian of the class. Which is not surprising because her uncle, Doodles Weaver, was a wonderful comedian. The young girl was so fascinated by what happened to her that she was constantly playing tricks on the housemates and staff. At the same time, influenced by Fitzgerald's novel The Great Gatsby, she decided to change the name given at birth to the stage name Sigourney, which in many cultures means victory. Because of her parents' busy schedule, the family was constantly moving from place to place, which at first didn't please Sigourney at all. It was not until later that she developed a taste for traveling, and eventually it was life in different cities and countries that became the impetus for the girl deciding to link her life with art. Weaver's family had the opportunity to live in Israel, Spain, France, and Holland. Thanks to this experience, she is fluent in Spanish and French. In Israel, our hero lived in an agricultural commune with common property and equality in labor. It was at this time, at the age of 18, that she met journalist Aaron Latham, with whom she had her first romantic relationship. However, nothing serious developed from this affair. After returning to America, Sigourney enrolled in two leading American universities, Stanford and Yale. She studied English literature in the former and acting in the latter, befriending her classmate Meryl Streep. Around the same time, she began to take part in amateur productions and considers offers from directors. In the 70s, the young woman advertised the Campbell canned soup and made commercials for Pepsi and a large Japanese steel corporation called Nippon Steel. In 1977, Weaver was presented a chance to appear in the movie Annie Hall by the legendary Woody Allen. The role was very small and brought the actress only $50, but the resulting experience and the director's reputation served as a kind of springboard for the career of the future star. The next movie, Mad Men, was much more profitable as she received $2,000 for it. 2 years later, in 1979, the movie Alien was shown on the screens, becoming a cult classic.
We have it cornered and then we'll blow it the out into space. Is that acceptable to you?
It means killing it acceptable to me.
Obviously it means killing it.
Her role as the brave Ellen Ripley brought her a fee of $30,000, nominations for the Saturn Award for Best Actress, and BAFTA in the Most Promising Newcomer in a Leading Role category. However, the road to a brilliant start was not an easy one, as the lead role was initially claimed by actress Veronica Cartwright, who ended up playing Navigator Lambert. Longtime friend of Sigourney, Meryl Streep, also participated in the casting, but her candidacy had to be rejected because shortly before the start of filming, her fiancé died, and the actress was in shock. The first version of the script and the main character should have been a man, but the creators felt that with a female character, the picture will stand out from the crowd. Weaver's fear of losing her job did not stop at the first day of filming, because during the scenes involving the cat Jones, her skin was covered with a rash. The actress was afraid that she is allergic to cats and she would be fired. However, it turned out that the allergic reaction was not at all to fur, but to glycerin, which was used as an imitation of sweat. In early 1983, the actress received the sad news. The life of her uncle Doodles, a successful and cheerful man, was tragically cut short. He committed suicide because of his health problems. In the same year, there was a steep turn in the personal life of Sigourney. At one of the film festivals, she met actor and director Jim Simpson. At first, they were not considering any serious relationship. They just mutually liked each other. First of all, Weaver was not single at the time, and second of all, she was worried about a large age gap because Jim was 7 years younger than the actress. However, the feelings were stronger, and very soon the young man proposed to Sigourney. She tried to dissuade him for 3 months, but then she gave up. Surprisingly, their marriage has been extremely strong, especially by Hollywood standards, and lasts until now. In the next few years, Weaver starred in such films as Eyewitness, The Year of Living Dangerously, Deal of the Century, One Woman or Two, and Ghostbusters. The latter was a box office blockbuster and grossed nearly $300 million domestically, with the Ghostbusters title soundtrack topping the music charts in several countries.
Oh, excuse me, is this is the Ghostbusters office?
Yes, it is. Can I help you?
I don't have an appointment. I'd like to talk to someone, please.
In 1986, the dramatic thriller Half Moon Street and the long-awaited sequel to the movie about alien monsters who attacked the ship Nostromo were released. Despite the obvious success of the first film, the process of preparation and filming of Aliens stretched for many years.
Okay. It's just that this might be a shock to you. It's long.
How long? Please.
57 years.
What?
The studio has long been looking for a director and screenwriter, and thanks to a hiatus in the shooting of Terminator, James Cameron was free. He quickly wrote a script for the sequel, and work began under the direction of producer Gail Ann Hurd. The first sticking point was Sigourney's sharp unwillingness to star in the movie sequel. They couldn't talk her into it by any chance, and the 20th Century Fox studio in turn considered the fee requested by the actress to be too high. Eventually, Cameron made a trick, letting a rumor through agents that the role of Ripley was going to be removed from the script. Thus, soon after Sigourney learned about this, the contract was signed. By the way, Fox did ask the director to write an alternative script without Weaver's character, but he refused. Weaver's final fee for work on Aliens amounted to $1 million, while the box office revenues for the film were $183 million. The sequel was very successful for the actress and got her prestigious awards. She was nominated for the Oscar and Golden Globe and was also given the Saturn Award. Thereafter, the actress was flooded with role offers, which led to a series of excellent films starring her. The films Gorillas in the Mist and Working Girl were a great success and brought Sigourney 1 Golden Globe. She was also nominated for an Oscar with these works. This is no surprise, since Weaver worked on Stanislavski's system for Working Girl, spending hours at meetings which were organized and conducted by actual businesswomen.
The way I look at it, you are my link with the outside world. People's impression of me starts with you. You're tough when it's warranted, accommodating when you can be. You're accurate, you're punctual, and you never make a promise you can't keep.
However, the film about the life of gorillas touched the actress very deeply, who, under the strong impression of her role, has become an ardent activist of the fund for the protection of these animals and is currently its honorary representative. Incidentally, she also addressed the pollution of the world's oceans and cooperated with an organization that assists poor people. In 1989, the sequel to the sci-fi comedy about the daily routine of paranormal fighters was released. However, the release of Ghostbusters 2 did not justify the inflated expectations after the successful start of the first film. Critics lambasted the script for the repulsive jokes and the general sluggishness of the plot. However, the movie had one definite positive for its creators. With a very low budget of $30 to $40 million, it managed to collect $215 million at the worldwide box office.
Peter, every now and then, I get the feeling that that painting is watching me, even smiling at me.
On April 13, 1990, there was a joyful event in the family of Sigourney and Jim as they had a long-awaited daughter whom they named Charlotte. The husband was pleased to take care of the child, so soon enough, our star resumed working on set. In 1992, two movies starring her were released at once: the historical drama 1492 Conquest of Paradise, which is about the discovery of the New World by Columbus, and Alien 3.
It's here! Got Clemens.
Stop this raving at once!
I'm telling you! It's here!
And get that foolish woman back to the infirmary!
Sigourney was again against starring in the sequel and tried to negotiate to appear in the movie only in a short scene. However, the film company management could not see the movie without her, resulting in many variations of the script with a variety of storylines and twists. Already realizing that she could not escape participating in the project, Weaver insisted that the script be written by Walter Hill and David Giler, because only they, in her view, could deeply work through the complex character of Ripley. Weaver had to shave her head for the role. However, her little daughter did not really like her bald mom, so the actress wore a wig outside the set. When the scene for the alien's death in a pool of lead was filmed later, Sigourney needed to shave again, her only just beginning to grow hair. She demanded another $40,000 in addition to the main fee of $4 million. The creators of the movie believed this amount was too big, and as a result, in this scene, bald Ripley is actually wearing a skillfully made wig, which cost the studio $16,000. The film was very well received by both audiences and critics thanks to a competent script and impressive special effects. The film was nominated for an Oscar and also earned 7 nominations for the Saturn Award, including Best Actress for Sigourney Weaver. In 1993, the actress appeared in the comedy melodrama Dave, and in 1994, an art house film by Roman Polanski, Death and the Maiden, was released. Sigourney played Paulina Escobar, a victim of a brutal torturer in whose hands she fell during the years of military dictatorship in the 70s in one of the countries of South America, presumably Chile.
You threatening?
I'm not.
Yes, you were. Let me make this clear. The time for people like you making threats is over. Huh?
Fine connoisseurs of unusual cinematography were delighted with Polanski's creation, but the film failed miserably at the box office. Its budget of $12 million raised only $3 million. A year later, the comedy Jeffrey and psychological thriller Copycat were released, where Sigourney played the role of Helen Hudson, a specialist in the psychology of serial criminals.
What turns you on? I mean, what really does it for you? Is it a great body? Is it a nice smile? Is it beautiful legs? Well, what turns on a serial killer is the suffering and death of another human being.
Genre enthusiasts still consider this picture as a benchmark due to the dashingly twisted plot and brilliant performance. In preparation for shooting, the actress talked to a famous forensic psychiatrist, Park Dietz, who testified in many high-profile criminal cases in the United States. In 1997, Sigourney unveiled 3 projects at once. The TV movie Snow White: A Tale of Terror was released, which combined the genres of a fairy tale and horror. The actress performed the role of the stepmother perfectly in the movie. The other film, The Ice Storm, was a commercial failure, collecting only $8 million in the US with a budget of $18 million. But it received a lot of nominations for prestigious awards. Specifically, Weaver claimed the Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor and also received the British Academy Award. The third project was a sequel to the saga of Alien Invaders, Alien Resurrection.
It's the United Systems military, not some greedy corporation.
Oh. Well, it won't make any difference. You're still gonna die.
Although critics were largely dissatisfied, fans were very much looking forward to the movie, and the box office receipts of $100 million far exceeded the budget. In addition, the picture collected 6 nominations for the Saturn Award, including for the lead actress. Sigourney received a fee of $11 million for her work on Resurrection, which exceeds the entire budget of the first part of the film. She was also a co-producer on that movie. Weaver herself chose the costume of her character and refused to leave her native country for filming, so Resurrection was the only movie in the franchise not filmed in England. At the editing stage, the studio wanted to cut the scene before the fight between Ripley and the Queen of Aliens, but the actress threatened that, in this case, she would not participate in the advertising campaign of the movie. The next major projects with Weaver came to the screens at the junction of the 90s and 2000s. There were the releases of the comedies Company Man and Galaxy Quest, as well as the drama A Map of the World. The 2 latter films brought the actress nominations for Saturn and Golden Globe, respectively. In 2001, the actress voiced the drama Big Bad Love, and one of the most fan-favorite pictures in her filmography was released, the film Heartbreakers.
I'm really ready now.
Thank you, God.
I'm ready to do things to you that no woman has ever done before. How about
Her partner actress on the set was Jennifer Love Hewitt. Interestingly, the comedy portraying the adventures of 2 charming con artists was planned to cast Cher and Jennifer Aniston. The following year, the actress took part in the voiceover of the popular animated series Futurama and also appeared in the romantic comedy Tadpole and drama The Guys. The family movie Holes, based on the novel of the same name by Louis Sachar, was released next. Sigourney really wanted to participate in it as this book was her daughter's favorite. A year later, the thriller The Village premiered, which was very hard for the actress to work on. She admitted that after reading the script, she had terrible nightmares for several weeks.
And for the next fortnight, we should be vigilant for sightings of this coyote. Keep careful watch over our little ones as they play on the hills.
For work in this supporting role, Sigourney received a fee of $2 million, and the movie itself was very successful in terms of finance. The world fees amounted to almost $260 million with a budget of $60 million. Also in 2004, the drama Imaginary Heroes premiered. In 2006, the independent drama film Snowcake was nominated for the Golden Bear at the Berlin Film Festival. Sigourney got one of the lead roles through the efforts of actor Alan Rickman, who after reading the script said that the role of Linda seems to be written exactly for her and immediately called her.
We'll lie down and go to sleep. I need my rest. And if you try and touch me, I'll shoot you. I have a gun.
In getting ready for filming, the actress spent a lot of time taking lessons from the British Roz Blackburn, who suffers from autism. As a result, Weaver was so impressed that she invited her to work as a consultant and borrowed many details from her: style of dress, habits, gestures, and manner of dancing. After that, the films The TV Set, Infamous, and The Girl in the Park were released, followed by Be Kind, Rewind, and Baby Mama. Sigourney also took part in the voiceover of the documentary television series Planet Earth, cartoons Happily Never After, The Tale of Despero, and WALL-E. The most notable work of our star in that period was the role of TV editor in the movie Vantage Point. Sigourney again responsibly approached the preparation for the role. This time, she went to the editing studio on one of the TV channels where she closely observed the work of journalists. In 2009, our star participated in the television drama Prayers for Bobby and was nominated at the Screen Actors Guild Award, Emmy, and Golden Globe for her work in it. At the same time, the world was rocked by James Cameron's science fiction movie Avatar.
The scientist stays objective. We can't be ruled by emotion.
The script and the idea of the movie were developed by the author back in 1995, but the gigantic budget of $400 million, which implied unprecedented special effects, was not offered at that time by any of the studios. In the end, the budget for the shooting was $237 million, and the box office receipts soared to an incredible $3 billion. The film made such a sensation that since 2009, an official International Avatar Day was established, which is celebrated on August 21. Weaver herself won the Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actress. In the next few years, Sigourney worked hard and took part in the films Crazy on the Outside, You Again, Cedar Rapids, Paul, Abduction, Rampart, The Cabin in the Woods, Red Lights, The Cold Light of Day, Vamps, and the series Political Animals. In 2014, she returned to the role of Ellen Ripley, voicing the video game Alien Isolation, starred in the fantasy Exodus, Gods and Kings, and a year later in the series Doc Martin and the film Chappie.
Do you realize you just came to the CEO of a publicly traded weapons corporation and pitched a robot that can write poems?
In 2016, the Ghostbusters Reload was released, where Weaver played one of the minor roles. The movie was extremely negatively received by the audience and failed miserably at the box office, leaving a group of film companies in a loss of almost $75 million. The action movie Tomboy also turned out to be a failure, but there were some pleasant moments. In the same year, the full-length animated film Finding Dory by the Pixar studio premiered, in which Sigourney voiced the recorded messages in the oceanarium. The sequel to the animated film Finding Nemo was met with great reviews from audiences and critics, and the box office revenue exceeded $1 billion. That same year, audiences could enjoy Weaver's performance as Grandma. The dramatic fantasy A Monster Calls won many awards, and Sigourney was nominated for the Goya Award in the category of Best Supporting Actress.
But there is one thing we have in common. Your mom. That's what we have in common.
For this movie, our star had to be able to speak with a British accent, which she easily nailed as her mother is British. Around that time, it became known that the plans to shoot the fifth part of the Alien franchise under the leadership of director and screenwriter Neil Blomkamp were cancelled. Weaver, who worked with Neil on other projects, was very upset, and as soon as she got her hands on the script of the short film Raka, she asked the director, who was to shoot this film, to give her the role of Jasper. Initially, the main character of the story about the capture of the Earth by reptilians was a man, to which Sigourney reasonably objected. Her Ripley and Aliens in the first version was also not planned to be a woman, but she got the role. In addition, in 2017, the movie The Meyerowitz Story and the series Guardians by Marvel Studios were released. A short break followed in the work of Sigourney, after which she had to shoot in 2020, starring in an episode of the series Call My Agent and the melodrama My Salinger Year. The following year, the movies The Good House and Ghostbusters Afterlife were released with the participation of our star. The reaction of the audience to the new edition of the popular franchise was again quite cool, although the film managed to collect almost $205 million at the box office. Incidentally, in June 2023, the filming of the untitled Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel was completed, but Sigourney did not star in it. In 2022, American director Paul Schrader's drama Master Gardener, in which Weaver played one of the main roles, was presented at the Venice Festival. In addition, the actress appeared in the drama Call Jane. In the same year, there was a premiere of the long-awaited sequel to the epic film Avatar, which James Cameron called The Way of Water.
Maybe I'm just losing it out here, but I'm seeing real evidence of a systemic response on a global level.
The second part was a resounding success. The Academy Awards nominated it for 4 nominations, and one of them was given to this film. Although Cameron had serious concerns about the payback of the project, Avatar: The Way of Water collected $2.3 billion in the world box office, so the rest of the franchise was given the green light. It is planned that the premieres will take place in 2025, 2029, and 2031. Sigourney Weaver will definitely appear in at least the third installment. The series The Lost Flowers of Alice Hart has been recently released, and now the film The Gorge is in production. The actress doesn't like to talk about her private life, thus there is no data online whether the actress owns movable properties. Perhaps she prefers to use the services of a driver. The real estate portfolio of the star is also very modest. She owns a small house on the outskirts of a picturesque park in the city of Long Lake, New York. She owns another property located in Santa Barbara, California, right across from the respectable Four Seasons Hotel, which she used only during vacations. Some locals claim that this house no longer belongs to her as she sold it in 2021, but the amounts of the transactions remain a secret. It is only known that the celebrity's fortune is estimated by experts at $60 million. Sigourney Weaver is that rare case when a global star has a crystal clear reputation. You can learn a lot from her: modesty, self-esteem, the highest professionalism, and loyalty to her family. All of this plus her amazing creative activity. She is not ashamed of her age and does not want to resort to plastic surgery. The actress thanks her high stature for the fact that it was possible to avoid the improper attention of producers. They are all short and fat, says Sigourney, so they just don't know how to communicate with a woman who is 2 more heads taller. Her filmography includes more than 70 roles, a whole collection of prestigious awards, and a personal star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. What is your favorite film starring Sigourney Weaver?
Thank you.